Do you ever feel like you're stuck in a loop? You keep facing the same challenges, attracting the same kind of drama, and repeating the same mistakes. It's frustrating, right? It can make you feel powerless, like you're just a passenger in your own life. It's a quiet desperation a lot of us feel, but rarely talk about. But what if I told you there are 5 powerful principles that can put you back in the driver's seat? These aren't some mystical, forgotten rules. They're practical, psychological tools for living with intention. Today, we're talking about the laws of karma, and by the end of this, you'll have a new framework for breaking old cycles and building the future you actually want. Now, it's important to clarify that the 5 laws we're exploring are a modern interpretation, designed to make a deep spiritual concept easier to grasp. They blend insights from Buddhist philosophy, Stoic wisdom, and modern psychology. So forget the idea of some cosmic vending machine of reward and punishment. Karma, at its core, is about cause and effect, specifically the law of moral cause and effect tied to our intentions. It's a system for learning, empowering you to become the architect of your own life. So, if you're ready to break the cycle, let's dive in. First up is the big one, the great law, which you probably know as the law of cause and effect. Simply put, whatever you put out into the world, you tend to get back. Your thoughts, words, and actions are like seeds. If you're planting seeds of anger, gossip, and negativity, you can't turn around and expect to harvest a life full of peace, trust, and connection. If you want happiness, peace, and friendship, you have to be a source of happiness, peace, and friendship. This isn't just some spiritual platitude, it's incredibly practical. The ancient Stoic philosophers, like Marcus Aurelius, saw this as living with virtue. They understood that our actions don't just affect the world, they shape our character, and our character determines how we experience life. When you consistently act with integrity and kindness, you're not just being nice. You are actively conditioning your mind and your environment to reflect those qualities back at you. Think about it in your daily life. A genuine compliment can completely shift the energy of a conversation. A moment of patience in traffic can save you from an entire afternoon of stewing in frustration. These are the small, consistent choices that add up. Good karma isn't about waiting for some far-off reward. The reward is baked into the action itself. The sense of peace you get from acting with integrity, that's your immediate return on investment. So the mission here is to become a conscious sower. Before you speak or act, just ask yourself, what kind of seed am I planting right now? Are you sowing harmony or discord? The harvest will be your life, so choose your seeds wisely. The second principle, the law of creation, is a wake-up call. It tells us that life doesn't just happen to us, it happens through us. We aren't just sitting in the audience watching a movie called My Life. We are co-creators of our reality. The state of your relationships, your career, and your own mind, they all offer clues about what's going on inside you. This idea is echoed powerfully in Stoic philosophy, especially by Epictetus, who urged us to separate what we can control from what we can't. You can't control the economy, the weather, or what your cousin posts on social media, but you have absolute authority over your own thoughts, your intentions, and your responses. That is the field where karma plays out. So many people feel stuck because they burn all their energy trying to change things they can't. They blame their misery on their boss, their partner, or their past. The law of creation invites you to bring that focus back home, to yourself. You are the one common denominator in every area of your life. If you want a more loving relationship, start by becoming more loving. If you want more recognition at work, start embodying excellence and taking initiative. It's also important to be nuanced here. The Buddha himself warned against thinking that everything that happens is a direct result of past karma. Life is complex. Things like genetics, your environment, and pure chance play a part. Karma isn't a simplistic scapegoat for inequality or suffering. Instead, think of it as the principle governing the part of your life you can shape, your intentional actions. Here's a practical way to apply this. Imagine a circle. Inside it, write down everything you have direct control over, your attitude, your effort, your choices. Outside the circle, write down everything you don't. The law of creation is about pouring your energy into what's inside that circle. When you do that, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start being the creative force in your own life. This leads us to our third law, and it's a tough one for the ego, the law of humility. This law states that you have to accept reality before you can change it. If you're in denial about your situation, you're guaranteeing you'll stay stuck in it. In modern psychology, this is called the paradox of change. Real transformation starts with radical acceptance. Humility, in this sense, isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking of yourself less so you can see reality more clearly. It's looking at your life, your flaws and your challenges without the filter of blame or denial. If you're deep in debt, you have to first accept the numbers on the screen. If you're in a toxic relationship, you have to accept the unhealthy dynamics for what they are. Blaming other people or outside forces is an act of pride. It's a refusal to see your part in the equation. And as long as you're pointing fingers, you've handed away your power to change things. You simply cannot fix what you refuse to face. The ego hates this. The ego wants to shout, "This isn't my fault, I'm the victim here." But the law of humility asks you to calmly say, "Okay, this is where I am. This is the situation. What's the next right move?" That moment of acceptance is where your power returns. It silences the static of resistance and lets you see the path forward. To practice this, take an honest look at one area of your life where you feel stuck. Write down the facts, plain and simple, without judgment. For instance, instead of "my boss is a tyrant and that's why my job sucks," try, "I am in a job where I feel unmotivated and undervalued." The first is a complaint that goes nowhere. The second is an acceptance of reality, and it's a starting point from which you can finally make a new plan. The fourth principle is the law of growth, and its mantra is brutally simple. Wherever you go, there you are. It's the universe's way of telling us that for our lives to get better, we have to get better. We are masters at looking for external fixes, a new job, a new city, a new partner, thinking that will finally solve our internal dissatisfaction. But we pack ourselves in our own suitcase. If you haven't done the inner work, the same patterns of anxiety, frustration, and conflict will just show up in a new location. True growth is an inside job. In many ways, the world is a mirror, reflecting our own inner state. If your inner world is chaotic, your outer world will feel chaotic. If you cultivate inner peace and resilience, your experience of the outer world begins to transform. This law demands that we shift our focus from changing our circumstances to changing ourselves. This is where a practice of self-awareness becomes your superpower. Continuous, honest self-reflection helps you spot the thought patterns and habits that are creating your karmic loops. Why do you keep attracting the same kind of unavailable partner? What's the underlying belief that drives you to procrastinate on your goals? The law of growth invites you to become a student of you. A profoundly practical way to do this is to start a daily journal. At the end of each day, ask yourself two simple questions. What went well today, and what was my role in that? And what was challenging today, and how did I react? This isn't for self-judgment, it's for self-awareness. It forces you to look inward for causes and solutions, turning every day into a lesson in personal growth. By committing to this inner work, you upgrade your own operating system, which will naturally create a different, better life. Finally, we arrive at the law of responsibility. This law pulls all the others together and delivers the most empowering message of all. You are ultimately responsible for your life. While we can't take the blame for everything that happens, we must take ownership of our responses. This isn't about fault, it's about empowerment. The life you have today is a reflection of the choices and habits you've stacked up over time. This can be a hard pill to swallow, especially when life feels deeply unfair. But embracing this responsibility is the ultimate power move. As long as you believe someone or something else is responsible for your happiness, you're a hostage. The moment you take full responsibility for your own experience, you reclaim your freedom. Both karmic philosophy and Stoicism teach that character is a habit. Good karma isn't built with one grand, heroic act. It's built by the thousands of small choices you make every single day. Are you habitually honest? Are you habitually kind? Are you habitually disciplined? Your habits are your karma in action. They are the chisel you use day after day to sculpt your destiny. To put this law into practice, pick one recurring problem in your life. Maybe it's financial stress, relationship drama, or poor health. Now, instead of focusing on all the external reasons it exists, ask yourself, what is one small, habitual action I can take to start changing this from the inside out? For financial stress, maybe the new habit is tracking your spending for 5 minutes a day. For health, maybe it's a 10-minute walk. Taking responsibility means you stop waiting for a rescue. You become your own rescuer. You recognize that you are the author of your story, and with every choice, you are writing the next page. So there they are, the great law, the law of creation, the law of humility, the law of growth, and the law of responsibility. As you can see, these principles transform karma from a scary, mystical concept into a practical blueprint for living with purpose. It's a system that puts the controls to your life back in your hands. You aren't a victim of fate. Every thought is a cause, every action is a seed, and every intention matters. By understanding these laws, you learn how to plant the seeds of the life you were truly meant to live. What you do today matters. Your choices have power. If this resonated with you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content on practical wisdom for modern life. Now, I have a question for you. Which of these 5 laws do you need to focus on most in your life right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let's learn from each other. Thanks for watching.